हेयर इट इज मार्श, कीचड़ होता है, दलदल होता है, वो जंगल भूमि है।
अच्छा बोलते हैं।
एक जो है वो शुष्क है, और एक जो है तीन तरह की है, दोनों तरह की है, मिसलेनियस। हेयर आर rivers are also, ponds are also, and dry lands is also. After dividing this land, they again divide the land in 16 parts. 16 parts. And 16 parts, the one land is there which does not need irrigation. That is called Devamatrika Bhumi, where rain is so much sufficient that there is no irrigation, extra irrigation is not needed. But where there is not rain, or there is a small rain, there irrigation is needed, and there rivers and ponds should be there. That is called Nadi Matrika. Means ponds and rivers are the like mothers which nurture the land. So that land is called Nadi Matrika. And some land is surrounded by the forest. So in this type, Sita, Asita, Devamatrika, Nadi Matrika, 16 types of lands has been mentioned here. After this Bhupariksha, they also suggest the testing of the soil, because as we see today, either it is Joshimath, either it is Jammu and Kashmir, where landslides occur occasionally, and whole Joshimath is sinking in the, and so there are many problems in the built houses. So before the construction, we should test the soil. If this soil is fit, is hard enough to hold the building. So the testing of the soil, they have proposed 2 or 3 methods. We should dig the land, and we should pour the water, and after one day or one night, we should see that if whole water is absorbed, then it is not good, because when rain will be there, then water will be absorbed, and then there is chances of landslides, soil erosion. So in this type, to test the hardship, to test the hardness of the soil, they have proposed 2-3 tests. And they have also proposed to test the soil if it is fit for the Grihaswami, for the landlord who will reside there. And as we know, in every scripture which is related to Vastu, there is Bhushodhana, means they test that when they are going to construct the house or construct the palace, or they are planning a city, then there should not be any bone, asthi nahi honi chahiye. There should not be asthi, bone nahi honi chahiye. There should not be ashes, bhasma nahi hona chahiye. There should not be tusha, धान इत्यादि की भूसी नहीं होनी चाहिए. मतलब there should not be any material which after the construction of the building there is a chance of landsliding or sinking of the building does not take place. So Sutradhar or Shilpi has to take care of this fact also. So if there are bones and tusha and asthi, they should be removed. That is called Bhumi Shodhana or Kantaka Shodhana. And it is not the beneficial, it is not in the favor of the dwellers of the house, for the landlord, for the son, for the progeny, and for the prosperity of. So when Samarangan Sutradhari is started, then Bose said that Vastu is needed for the prosperity. And our whole behavior Our whole behavior is for what? It is for welfare, it is for prosperity, it is for peace, it is for bliss. And that pleasure or peace cannot be attained if our building is not planned according to the scripture, according to Shastra. So the testing of the soil and Bhumi Shodhan. After Bhumi Shodhan, they come to the measurement of the earth. And then there are so many points there that in every direction, which should be what type of land there. So they have divided many types of lands. But what is the main point of this discussion? That is, the land should be Udak Pravana Bhumi Syat. Land should have a slope in the north direction, and it should be high in the south direction. And so in every direction, either it is northeast, we know that northeast is the in a house, it is the place of temple, place of worshipping. So one can worship there, one can make sacrifices there, one can establish a small temple there. And in southeast, which is Agneya, we should prepare kitchen. But before that, he has a Hastalakshanadhyaya. In Hastalakshanadhyaya, he has mentioned so many measurements from Yava, Prasriti, Angula, and then Vitasti, and then Hasta. So that measurement should be very accurate, and the knowledge of the direction should be very accurate, because a house which has the door in the northeast or southeast or southwest or northwest, that is not considered good. It is called Dingmudha, because there are only 4 directions which are main directions, that is east, west, north and south. So door of the house must be in one of these directions. If it is in east and if it is in north, then it is good. But it may be also in west and south. But it must not be in the corner directions. That is northeast or northwest, southeast and southwest. After this Bhu Pariksha and Hasta Lakshanadhyaya, then after this, the whole Vastu or whole design of a house is divided in 3 type of Vastu Chakras, which we know also. And Varahamira deals the subject in his Brihat Samhita, Vastu Vidyadhyaya. Then he also mentions 2 type of Vastu Chakras, Ekashiti Pada Vastu and Sashti Pada Vastu, Chatushashti Pada Vastu. In Chatushashti Pada Vastu, whole Vastu is divided into 64 parts, and every part has its deities. And in Ekashiti Pada Vastu, the whole Vastu or whole building, whole land of the building must be divided into 81. So Manangal Sutradhara also mentions a 3rd type of Vastu, that is Shatapada Vastu. And in this Vastu, the whole building is divided into 100 parts, and every part has been allotted a deity. And there are also mentioned is a Marma Vedhadhyaya. There are 2 chapters are there, where they said that these are the marms. Marm means these are sensitive points, and these sensitive points should not be there should not be construction. There should not be any construction. There should not be digging, and without digging we know that no construction is possible. So there should not be any construction, there should not be any heavy object must be put there. So these sensitive points must not be loaded with the heavy objects and must not be loaded with any construction. And as we know, there are many sensitive points, but the main sensitive point is the place of Brahma, which is called Brahmasthana. And this Brahmasthana is the center point of a building. Either it is Chatusashti Padavastu or Ekashiti Padavastu or Shatapada Vastu. In every Vastu, we should very accurately, we are needed to fix the central point of the building, that is called Brahmasthan. That is the most sensitive point of the building. That must not be, in any case, that must not be loaded and there must not be any construction. So this is the Vastu, Chatusashti Pada Vastu, Ekashiti Pada Vastu, Shatapada Vastu. These three types of Vastu are here mentioned, and then they mention the Shira. Shira means when we construct a rectangle or when we construct a square is also a rectangle, and we write their diagonals, and where they cross, that point is the Brahmasthana. That is the central point, and that Brahmasthana must not be pierced, must not be there must not be any construction. There should not be any, a landlord should not put any object which is heavy there. That must be kept free of any encroachment, what we can call. And after that, in very detail, in Samarangana Sutradhar, he mentions about the architecture of temples, because this work is different in this manner that it, in very length, it does not only describes, mentions and elaborates the needs for the houses for the human beings, but it also in very length mentions the architecture of the temples. And for the architecture of the temples, there are, as I indicated earlier, that we have temples in India, not only in India, but also in Cambodia, Thailand, Indonesia, where the culture of Ramayana and Mahabharata is very much reflected in temples, and pillars and inscriptions are also found. So, northern India and southern India, both temples differ in the style, and three styles are here, Nagar and Dravid, and both styles is in very length mentioned here. And in beginning part of the Samarangana Sutradhar, a elaborate background is there why a king is needed, because if there is no king, there cannot be a proper planning of a city, and there cannot be a proper planning of houses. As we know also today, there are two types of constructions. One is regulated construction and one is irregular constructions. When a city is not planned and irregular constructions take place, then after a point of time, every government needs to regulate them. Because if there is no regulation, then there is no prosperity. Because in planning of a city, we have to take care of the spaces for the commercial activities, spaces for the cultural activities, spaces for the travel and tourism, and spaces for the agriculture, and all it is cannot be regulated by a general human being, because he is only concerned with the construction of his house. So king is needed, that is mentioned in the earlier part, and this is the subject matter which is also mentioned in Mahabharata, but in very much detail it is mentioned in Samarangana Sutradhar. And the whole gist of the discussion is that regulation, rulership, or a king is needed only when morality among people decreases. When the morality decreases, only then writing is needed. Because when oral word has no value, then only writing and verification in writing is needed. And we know today's world, it is said that there is no value of oral word in the eye of law. This is only a mark of immorality which has prevailed in human society. So need of the king, need of the rulership, and need of the regulations. As we know, in today's time also government establishes authority. Everywhere there is authority. Greater Noida Authority, Noida Development Authority, DDA, Delhi Development Authority. These authorities are established to function as a regulator of the constructions in a city. And in Samarangana Sutradhar, or in our Indian intellectual tradition, the whole behavior, either it is construction, it is regulated because there is only one aim, that the lord of the house and the other neighbors who reside there, they must be prosperous, they must live in peace. So if they have to live in peace, if they have to be prosper, then the regulations and rules of the Vastu must be followed. Architecture of temples have been mentioned in very detail. And one peculiarity also I want to mention here, that separates Samarangana Sutradhar from our Vastu works. That is the construction or designing of machines. So here it is, a chapter is devoted, whole chapter is devoted to the machines. That is Yantradhyaya. And in today's world, when Samarangana Sutradhar was first found by T. Ganapati Shastri, and in 1924, and it was brought to the light of the scholarly world, then it has been found that the very peculiar feature of this Vastu work, which is related to Vastu, it has also very astonishing facts have been detailed in the Yantradhyaya. And why this Yantradhyaya? So the author of the Samarangana Sutradhar says that these machines should be fitted in the palace of the king, or these machines should be fitted in the amusement places, Manoranjan Park jo hote hain, amusement places where people visit, where kings visit, where aristocrats visit. There, for amusement and for the refreshing the moods of the people, these machines should be fitted. And Vaichitriartham also, these also should be for the astonishing the people, these machines should be fitted there. So in this Yantradhyaya, he it is very peculiar and it is not found in other works, because for machines there are other works. Of Bharadwaja, their Vimana Shastram, there is a Vimana Shastra which is attributed to Bharadwaja, which has been found. And there is also a work Yantra Sarvaswam. But in any Vastu work, apart from Samarangan Sutradhar, there is no any chapter for the Yantra or machines. But here machines and flying machines are also mentioned. And after mentioning of very types of machines, when the point comes to the methodology of construction of these machines, then the author says that I will not reveal the whole method of construction of these machines, because it can be misused. So I leave it to the bright minds who have proper mechanical knowledge. They should use these machines for the welfare of the people. So he also, in this chapter, he also defines the yantra. What is the yantra? And that definition is very much important from the point of view of the Indian intellectual tradition. He says that there are, as we know, there are 5 elements which in Indian tradition are attributed to the construction of the whole world or whole universe. In these 5 elements, Akash is ether, air, fire, earth, and Jala. We know in science also there are 3 states of any matter: solid, liquid, and gas. So these are 3 elements are known to everyone. But Akash has been excluded from here. So he says machine or yantra is a device which controls these 4 elements, because ether cannot be controlled by anyone. Ether is uncontrollable. We can only use ether. We can only use space. We cannot control the space. We can raise the walls, but we cannot control the space. So yantra or machine is a device which controls air, fire, earth, and water. And this controlling is for the welfare of the people.